Alright, so hopefully my face isn't too washed out. I don't know, from here it looks okay. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm back at you with another episode of the 100-mile-per-hour lawnmower build. If this is your first video or first time with me, thank you for clicking on this video today. We'll get into it here in a second. But today we are going to be tackling the steering system on this lawnmower. If you haven't seen previous videos, we have a four-wheeler front end on here from a Polaris 90cc. So we have partial steering already. We have the tie rods and everything. We just need to route the steering column up and over the motor and to where the driver is going to be sitting. Now, I don't have the seat in quite yet for this, but hopefully where I put the steering wheel will be an okay spot to mount the steering. But before we do that, I don't know if you guys saw in my last video, but this shock in the back is not it. So I'm gonna go ahead and swap out this shock real quick, and then we'll go ahead and get right into the steering. Alright guys, well, we got the heavier shock on here, but as you can see, it's bottomed out. So what I think we're gonna actually do here is, instead of having the shock mounted between our legs with like our crotch right there, we're gonna actually go with the original plan to mount the shock. Well, we're gonna mount it lower, probably not that, but probably around that height, maybe a little bit higher. But I can still keep our loop here, and I can just flip this tab over. Thankfully, everything's just tacked in, so nothing's too crucial. But the shock is already like it's very, should I stand on it? I'm gonna stand on it. Alright guys, so getting back into the original plan, in a couple videos we mounted up the body. I'm gonna try to leave the body on as long as I can. There's going to be a point where I have to take the body off, but I need it in here to mock everything up. And the other thing I need in here to mock up is the motor. So, we'll see what that does. Alright guys, so before we continue, I just want to get your opinion. I did get some better lighting for the shop. They're just kind of stand lights. And I want to get your opinion because I noticed that the lighting in here was really crappy and it was causing my video quality to go down. And it also increased my recording frame rate. So let me know if the videos are of higher quality because I want to try and deliver the best quality content to you guys. But first things first. A couple videos back, we cut the original steer shaft or steer tube off of the four-wheeler, but I saved it so we actually have the original length of steering tube. However, we're not just going to be able to weld it directly back in because we're going to be under a little bit of torque. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this pipe here that I have left over from when we cut the original frame apart, and I'm going to use this as sleeves and as bushings to help weld everything back together. We also have the original lawnmower steering wheel. I think I'm just going to use this for mock-up. I'm not sure that I actually want to use this. It's plastic. I don't know how it's going to hold up at high RPM, high torque, high speed. But for testing purposes, this is going to be okay. And it's actually a pretty cool looking steering wheel. So I might just keep it. We'll find out as the weeks progress. And then this is the piece de resistance. We got a U-joint from a Ford Bronco. For those who haven't been around on the channel a long time, we have a shitload of vehicles just laying around the property, and the best part is this U-joint accepts with a little bit of finagling, so I might have to hit this with a hammer, grind it down, but these pieces will fit together just fine, making mock-up a heck of a lot easier. It's cold! We need to cut off a sleeve that's going to fit over our original piece. So these two pieces were once one piece, I think something like that. Now they're not. And then what I'm also going to do is cut a section of this off and use it as a bushing right in the strut towers. So it's gonna weld in like that, and then that'll give us a platform to mount our U-joint to, and then hopefully we can get our steering in a better location, and hopefully these U-joints get us the range of motion that we want. So I think right here is probably going to be the most amount, but as long as we go over the engine and we're able to make it accessible, so that way we can pull the engine in and out as needed, we will be a-okay. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can find a better sleeve alternative, because this is great for bushings, but it has a little bit too much play for being a sleeve. So we'll see what we can do. All right, so we found our sleeve, and I set it down and I don't know where it went. Okay, here it is. Woo. Anyway, so if you guys watched the video where I made the shock mount, this sleeve, or this piece of frame, alright, it's the sleeve now, but this was the same piece that our shock mount was, because I just cut the tube off, split the tube in half, and welded it to that U piece that we salvaged. But looking right here, piece of tube, steering shaft. Actually, that one has some burrs, but look how perfect that is, and it's got minimal play, so it's gonna be a perfect sleeve. I can probably cut this in half. We can sleeve one more thing, but the play on this, very, very minimal. So I'm very pleased that we found that, we were able to locate that, because mating these two pieces, once again, is gonna be a lot easier. And it's gonna leave a lot of guesswork out of it. So it's awesome. Woo! Alright, so we got our piece cut down to the length that we want. Right about there. So now we can take that piece, clearance it to where this will now slide over top. And then once it slides in, we can figure out how far we need it to go in. We can mark our hole, drill out a hole that's the same size as here through this using our drill press, and then we should have something that can bolt together and unbolt when we need it to, so that way we don't have unserviceable parts, and our engine can drop in and out as needed. So I'm gonna go ahead and just either bang it with a hammer or do something. Alrighty. Oops. Okay, so we got a lot of shit on this table, but that's okay. What we're gonna do is we're going to take our piece here and our sleeve, and we're going to see how much of our sleeve that is necessary to use. We'll be fine, and we'll have plenty left over to use for our connection between our steering wheel and our other shaft, which is this one right here. Or no, I'm sorry, this one right here. So we need to figure out how our adapter is going to work. I'm going to use a different piece of steel because this one's rusted and it's not exactly the straightest, but it is, there we go. All right, it is a good size to fit over our steering shaft, and it will make a good step down. And then I'm going to go ahead, weld it onto one side of this, trying to make it as straight as I can, because there is a slight bit of play in the parts, but it's not enough that it won't harm us too much if we're a little bit off. But A to A, B to B, C to C. non-main pieces welded up. So now it's time to head back over. So now it's time to head back over the frame. See what we got to work with. So we got 1, 2. So we're gonna go ahead and connect these up. So I did beat this, so it just kind of slips in nice and easy. Goes in far enough that we can actually get a bolt in at one point. And then this will slide where we want it to. But I think the rest of it, besides this piece here, is gonna get mounted with bolts. I think, no, this piece is getting welded. So we're gonna go ahead and head back over to the lawnmower. All right, I just pinched my finger. So piece A slides down on here, right about there. Piece B slips onto her, like so. We're gonna try and get it even-ish when we efficient on it. And C slips on like that. Hood clearing test. No way. Alright, somehow we cleared the hood. I didn't know we were gonna do that. So our seat will be a little bit higher than this, but dude. What? How did it end up so perfect? Oh, that's awesome. So it'll probably be about here. See, we'll have a little bit of clock back, but my arms aren't like all the way out. I can bring my chest in. That's pretty good. So I think we're gonna go ahead and start mocking shit up. Alrighty, so right there is a sleeve that I've made. Zoom out, so hopefully you can see my face. I think that should be good. Now I'll show you something. So that is a sleeve, or I guess in this case it's our bushing. And I have the studded rod. It's gonna get tacked to the frame and then tacked to our bushing once we get everything at the correct height. But before we do any bushing welding of any sort like that, I want to get this whole assembly tacked to our piece up there. But even before that, we got another bushing we need to weld, and it's right up here on our shock towers that I talked about earlier. All right, guys, so here is the finished product of the steering bushing mount up here after I took it out with the engine. I did weld all this with the engine in. Accidentally set fire to the air filter, but live and learn. So it's kind of nice because it's like an art, but every single one of these serves as a point of support. So this thing is fairly well supported, and once these are all fully welded and not just tack welded, it will be super sturdy, super strong. But, oh yeah, I also, while my battery was charging for my camera, I went ahead and made a new rear shock mount. It's going to take a lot more bracing. As you can see, we're kind of warping this. I don't know if that's from welding or from me testing it, but we're going to brace this all up. Don't worry. Possibly come up with a brand new shock mount, but we'll see. But let's say we're driving. Whoop. So that much to get it turning as far as it can to the left and back to center. That much to get it turning as far as it can right. So we're gonna have nice, tight, controllable steering, and it's going to be awesome. And we'll go ahead and put our boys on the line here. All right. So whole weight on here, and we got like a lot of clearance. So rear shock is a success. The new rear shock is a success. But here's my view. I'm holding you guys right at my eyes. This thing is going to be an absolute beast. I can't wait till we get all the final parts and pieces in and we can call this project done. But for today, this is where we are leaving off. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want more content like this, subscribe. In the description down below, let me know how I did. Also, share with a friend if you really enjoyed the video. Helps me out a lot. But thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next episode. See ya.